Hi everyone, it's Natalie here. It's another morning, like early morning. Actually, it's another Sunday morning video, and I will do like a face-on video at some point soon. I promise. I just got my hair cut yesterday, and it's the first time I've had my hair cut by someone else, since like 2019. So it was a big occasion, and it's a new hairdresser, and I absolutely loved her, and we had so much in common, and we had the most wonderful time just chatting and hanging out and so forth. And she works out of her home, and she just moved her mother into her house with her, and so we just had so much to talk about. But I'm also balancing that with the need to recover, because I'm working 7 days a week at the moment, again, because I've got a client who's actively dying. So and it's the most beautiful situation. I mean, it is absolutely the most gorgeous circumstance. It is totally bananas in its own way, actually. It really is. But it's also a rose garden. This is a couple who are so devoted to each other and so in love with one another. And, the daughter, who is much, an older person herself, is the most perfect. And she flew in last night on her magic carpet, from where she lives across the country to be with her mom in her last couple of days. And it's beautiful, but it's just a lot, right? Because it's out of the house. And so when I get home, I've got a partner, and I've got my dog, and I've got, it's like all going on. It's so abundant, yeah. So this is my first deck, obviously, that is in my cabinet of curiosities, which I've seen all of the VRs and finally popping up. And I saw Candy's original video, and I finally yesterday started watching them, while I was kind of having a break between one thing and the next. And I don't know when I started. I started maybe Friday. I don't know when I started. I started a couple days ago, and I've just had the best time watching these videos. And I thought, I've got a load of curiosities in my cabinet. And one of them, of course, is this dangerous pussy deck here. It's the Tantric Dakini Oracle. Which will totally slay the ego. And transform us with mother's milk. So it is really just the most beautiful deck. I swear the walkthrough is coming, the unboxing and walkthrough, but it just has that quality. Like, it's so weird, right? It's very 70s. And it does kind of, I don't know. It doesn't have the sensibility, for example, of the Iraq or the Afghan-Iraq war, right? So this won't mean the same thing to me today that it would have meant to the creators when they made it. So there's a lot of little things like that in here, and yet it is so spot on and so good. Like, it reads. This thing is a reader unlike anything I've ever encountered, and it has literally just become one of my most favorite decks ever, probably. It's got its own chunk, dedicated to it in a journal now. I love it so much, I hardly know where to begin. I needed this one in my life, and thank God I have it now. But it's also one of those, it is a cabinet of curiosities. It's got that sort of feel of, what was that show? Like a Ripley's Believe It or Not, what is the Tantric Dakini Oracle? Is it a deck that came out of ancient Vedic wisdom? Or did it come out of someone's closet? Who knows? Yeah, it's got that feel to it, right? But it's extraordinary. It is extraordinary. There will be so much more coming about that one. So that's my first one. Let's see. I'll go to the left. I've got them stacked both sides of me. My next two are two little decks that I don't work with nearly enough. They've been kind of sitting, waiting patiently for me. They're made by, I know her name is Holly Audley, Holly Wazo from Savannah, Georgia. They're so cute. These two little decks. They are made from images. Look at that. Come in and find what you seek. There we go, eyeballs. I know Candy loves eyeballs, and the answers lie within. They're so cute. Oh my god, I love them so much. This is the elucidation deck. So it says, it's so hard to read. It says the Hidden Hand Society presents the Laurel Grove South Cemetery Elucidation deck by Holly Audley. And this is the guide. And the guidebook, of course, there's not much to it. They're just very simple, you know, just by number. Number 9, it's okay not to be the anchor. Free float for a while. I don't know if these are still in print. I think they're still on her website. But look at the backs. Yeah, these are the backs. There's like little coffins and an eyeball. It's like a little mandala of stuff, and it's very folk art looking. You know, we get the crown and scepter, the hollow tree, the broken grave, the crossed keys, the sun, open eye, the closed book, the sword, the moon, the bouquet, so the T, the songbird, the oak branch, etc., the hand pointing. There's lots of those. So, the skilled seamstress. There's lots of these kinds of fun, little symbols that we find in cemeteries. And it kind of made me think, wow, the rotted plant. There's a cemetery that we have here in St. Louis that's really beautiful like that. That's historic. And it kind of made me think, ooh, I wonder if there's any, like, what are the crossovers there? The ants, the tomb, the gate, the seashell. Yeah, it's just beautiful. And then, yeah, here we go. At the very back. Did I miss any? Oh, thank you. At the very back, we get, some notable people of the cemetery who are buried there that she wants to pay homage to. It's really neat. It's such a cool little deck. And production value and quality is just exquisite, of course. So that's that one. And then there is also the divination deck, the Hidden Society divination deck. And this is a different one. So this is a different, this one was from the Laurel Grove South Cemetery. This one's from the Bonaventura Cemetery. And I don't know if, look at that. There's a little lock there. Does it do it on that one too? It does. So there's a B and then the little keyhole. Yeah. So they're a little different, but they're obviously intended to go together. What does this say? Welcome, come in and find what you seek. So here we go. And so we have a similar, and then we get the answers lie within. We get a similar kind of feel here. The backings are a little different. Gold gilding, but again, we have, the key, the stump. What is that? The eye. Oh, that's another sun. But I think the meaning, as I recall, is different. Yeah. The acorn, the sword, the pointing hand, the moon. And I guess the pointing hand was different in this cemetery. So she's using, like, decoration that came from gravestones in that cemetery. So they have similarities, but different. They're very different. The urn, the spider, the skull, the crown. Yeah, it's, oops, we lost our little bit of light there. It's a cloudy, cold morning here. Or cloudy, cold. It's cool. It's not 100 degrees right now, so it's a real relief. Yeah, the bone. Ooh, that's not great. I guess there's bones on gravestones. I kind of wish the guidebooks told a little bit more about the cemetery. Oh, yes, here we go. There's also these other little cards that go in the deck. So we have like where you get, ask a yes or no question, scratch to reveal the answer, only good lies ahead. Yeah, oh, that's right. These were scratch off cards. I forgot. There were a whole bunch where you could like scratch off the cards to get the meaning. Which is so cool. Yeah. There we go. So anyway, there's that as well. And similarly, the little guidebook is just very small, but one is intended to help you understand yourself, and the other one is intended for divination, right? So one is there for like personal path guidance. This one is intended to, divine for answers. But they're very similar, and I think they would easily be used together. Honestly, I think it'd be fun to play with and say like, ooh, how would we do a reading with those? To get them. But those are still in my cabinet of curiosities. I have not worked with them hardly at all, other than to play with them initially when I unboxed them. So they're waiting for me. So those are number 2. You'll find, and I paired them as number 2. You can see how I did that, right? There's going to be some cheating here. So the third in my cabinet of curiosities is the Embroidered Graveyard. Ooh! Nearly knocked over the bee mug. That would be so bad. Oh my god, that would be so bad. Oh, keep drinking that coffee, girl. Keep drinking it. This is such a delight. I went ahead and did the I did a little ritual with it, and it has its own crystal now. I actually followed the directions, of the creator, because I love that. Sometimes it's just fun. It's like a game, and it's so entertaining. Didn't know that was even there. Yeah. And Death said, "But I am not the end. No, not at all. I'm simply the mirror you've been watching your life through. And my, what a lovely adventure you've had." Yeah, and there's the goodbye card, which is the way that you close out any reading. So you charge this one, and you charge the absolute protection. So there's a ritual with it too. And then you have all of the cards in the deck. And I don't know why, I just have not, it came with the most gorgeous lapel pin, or, like enamel pin. Let's see. Oh, and I can't say enough about it. I love this one so much. And it's been sitting here because I keep thinking I'm going to work with it any minute. And then I have not, because I'm once again, as I like to be and always have, just full of different, things that I've been doing and working on, and just, yeah. I seem to thrive sometimes in the too muchness. I really do. But that's not a bad thing. So yeah, there's all of these they're all hand embroidered. I love the way she worked with this and created these. It looks like she not only embroidered them and drew and created them that way, but she also then did some digital manipulation, and I just see like such a growth in her work as an artist. But just this is a cabinet of curiosities, right? Something that has that feel, that kind of older time feel of hand-worked embroidery, mixed with death and Ouija board planchettes and, home is where the heart is. Vulnerable, a skeleton handing you a heart that's been literally pulled from its rib cage. It's wonderful. In the death's head moths. It's the imagery is exquisite. It's above and beyond. I cannot wait to see what she does with her next one. Really, it has this feeling of wonder and ooh, I wonder what could possibly happen now. and, you know, what's going to come of this, and all of those kinds of things that are just so beautiful. Taking off your skin. It makes me want to really refine my own skills and be better and dive deeply beneath the veil and learn what's there and all of the things, you know. Woo, look at that. And that's like its own little cabinet of curiosities. It is actually, a lot of these decks have been sitting in my actual cabinet of tarot decks that used to be a CD cabinet, and I found it near a dumpster and took it home and cleaned it up, and it's beautiful. I mean, it really didn't need much other than just literally like spraying the glass and bringing it in. But I keep decks that I really want to work with but haven't worked with yet in that cabinet, which has been a very good way to both keep them really, really clean and safe, but also, you know, just kind of remind myself like, hey, you know, this whole cabinet of stuff is here. You want to just get in there and play. So yeah, so there's the Embroidered Graveyard deck. It has a wonderful guidebook. I don't know where it is at the moment. Where did I put it? It might be on my big bookshelf where I tend to put stuff when I want to make sure it stays super clean and safe, because my critters come in here. Because my sunroom is connected to my bedroom. All right. So the next one, we'll reach to the right and just go in order, I guess. The next one is a mass market. It's El Gran Tarot Esoterico by Fournier. And I've just never worked with it. And it is kind of operating from a system and a wisdom that I don't really get yet. I haven't quite delved into yet. Look, the guidebook got folded in half like that, but then it's like, it gives them extra. Isn't that cool? I just think it's neat. And look at this card. Like when you open the deck, it's super skinny. You know, it's got a 7-pointed star on it, which I love, representing the 7 planets, I guess. It's obviously those are glyphs. So it makes me wonder, like, ooh, is it Neoplatonist? Is it, you know, what are we playing in here? But it feels to me like, I don't know, it has a oldie worldy, you know, kind of cabinet of curiosities feel to it. Maybe I'm the only one who feels that way. I don't know. You know, it's just cool. I don't know. I kind of really want to work with it. The problem is it's missing a card. Look at that tower. I mean, holy shit, look at that tower. I mean, that's epic. That is a really epic tower. Geez. Yeah, I don't understand all of the references that are contained within it. I do understand some of the Kabbalistic ones now. I didn't before. When I first got it. I guess I got this in 2020, right before lockdown. I mean, that's just, oh, so cool. But I don't, you know, it's very pippish, but the pips have a lot of significance and meaning in them. Oops. And I can't remember which card's missing. I feel like maybe it was from this particular suit. Was it? 9. Is it an 8? Is that a 7? No, the 8's there. Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But, like, look at that, though, right? Like, there you have a cup, and it's a picnic basket and a butterfly. And then we have the air signs. And the hay. I mean, I don't know. And Venus, that's wonderful. I mean, it's got specific, it reminds me a lot of Robert M. Place, you know, the way he does his pips. So I want to delve deeper into it, but it just, for me, it holds that, like, ooh, it's so mysterious. It's esoterico. When I was a kid growing up and we finally got cable where we could watch Spanish TV, I was so excited. I would watch it all the time. And because I wanted to learn every language I possibly could. In Spanish, I was like, everybody in America speaks Spanish but me. Of course, that was not true at all. But I thought, as a kid, I thought that was the case. And I remember they would like, what was the name of that channel? Telemundo. Yeah, they would, it was just, yeah, anyway. And that always to me was like, oh, what is it that I could possibly be missing, because I don't speak Spanish and I don't have access to the majority of the Americas because of it. Yeah, look at that. And I learned a lot of Spanish. I still sort of can understand a lot of it. Speaking it comes back when I'm in that environment long enough. There we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, that with like a balloon, right? With a hot air balloon on it. Like, what? That is incredible. The potential in that? I mean, what? That is crazy. I love it. I love it. It's so cool. Maybe this should come out of the cabinet. I mean, it might be time. And then, yeah, there's just like different, I need to get that missing card. I need to figure out which one it was. Anyway, it's in my cabinet of curiosities because it contains so much information. It has such an old world, hand-drawn, hand-colored feel to it, and it came from a shop that in Tulsa, in Old Town Tulsa, Oklahoma, where it was a hoodoo slash Wicca slash, I mean, they basically, they were serving everybody, but you could feel the influence of hoodoo in that store in the most wonderful way. And it made me then also want to learn more about hoodoo, honestly, which I have done here and there and continue to. But anyway, the Cabinet of Curiosities. It's a cult and it lures you in, makes you want to find out. Okay, the next one, let's see. The next one we'll do, well, we just did, yeah, that one was kind of Spanishy, so we'll go with Tarot del Fuego. Another Fournier deck. How funny. Not a conscious choice. I have not worked extensively with this deck at all. And I love it. I loved it from the moment I laid eyes on it. Ages and ages and ages and ages and ages ago. And I went ahead and got it in 2020 and brought it home. And as you can see, it's still in order. I think I worked with it a little bit and then put it back in order to study further later on. And I just think it's amazing. I love it deeply, and it feels like the most curious deck on earth. And it does not have a guidebook that I'm aware of. So you're sort of left to your own devices to read it, to understand it, to look at it, to see into it, to draw upon everything you know about esoteric tarot. I would say even maybe, I wonder, I don't know, because I have done very little study of brujeria. But I would imagine that there must be references, right? Maybe. It definitely makes me want to really research Roberto Cavallo a lot more. I also have one of his playing card decks. It's like a Day of the Dead playing card deck. Because I was hoping I could work with these two together. At some point I will. At the moment, I'm just very slow and measured and steady. I just saw another video where Candy was talking about how this is maybe her all-time favorite ace card. And I really understand. It's just the most, I get it. Anyway, and they're like this, the two, the up, down, above the earth, below the earth feel that's in here. It's just so beautiful and weird and wonderful and curious. I feel again like it holds a world of mystery within it that I find really exciting. Not at all what I would normally think of with the Six of Swords there, eh? Is that just me? There's just so much in it. There's so much in it. Years ago, I know that Nina of Shuffle Tarot did a wonderful series looking at this deck. And I don't know if she still has it up or not. But I know it still exists. Anyway. So there we go. So that would be what? 1, 2, 3, 4. This would be 5. Is this number 5? Maybe. We'll go ahead and put this one back in. There we go. Otherwise, we'll have a big mess here on my desk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Number 6, we'll go on to this one, is the Nosferatu Lenormand. This is a wonderful cabinet of curiosity. This one definitely belongs in there. It's by the Crone's Bones, and I bought it at the same time that I bought my Crone's Bones. So there we have it. And it has your little keywords here on beautiful cardstock. It's linen. And she edges the decks by hand. And they're obviously this beautiful tin. The backings are so cool looking. You know, it's mysterious and fabulous and, you know, sepia toned and dark and wonderful. I love that heart. It's just so beautiful. The birds, the book, bouquet, whip, the rider, the ship, the mice. It's just a wonder. There's the man. There's another option for the man as Nosferatu himself. I like leaving both of those in here. I haven't used this one for quite a while, actually, but I used to use it quite a lot, and it makes me want to pull it back out again. But this one, I leave both of them in because they have different meanings, and so why not? And I don't usually read a grand tableau. So, dog, stork. And I like that there's 2 storks. I've never taken any cards out, but you've got 2 options for your stork. You can either have moving stork or a stork that's building a nest. And again, I like the 2 different meanings for those. The cross, lilies. There's a woman, but the letter. Oh, it's just so spooky. And there's another option for the letter in case this reminds you of the man and you're working with a grand tableau. You see how she's done this? It's so clever. The sun, no, I love that so much. It's so perfect. But vampires belong in a cabinet of curiosities, don't they? I think they do. I think we've got both a broom and a whip in here too, and since I like both meanings, I keep both of them in there. I think we have 2 different options for the dog, which I also keep in there because one is a friend and one is got some aspects to it. The coffin and the clover, which almost to me looks like water lilies actually. Crossroads. That's a wonderful stars card. I love that stars card. The scythe. I always want to call it a scythe because of the Y, but it's a scythe. Tower, ring, wonderful ring. Fox, another coffin. So again, if you just need if you're trying to read a big spread, you've got options here, right? Key and child. So I just think it's a brilliant deck, and it is creepy and fabulous and wonderful, and it definitely belongs in a cabinet of curiosities. It comes in its own little coffin, doesn't it? It's marvelous. Okay. Moving on. What was that? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This will be number 7. Number 7 is the 2 Penny Oracle by Madame Clara. Know thyself. This was a Kickstarter. Some of you are probably familiar with Madame Clara. It's beautiful. The production value is exquisite. Yeah, and I'll be honest. I was not sure upon opening this deck come back, light. Whether I would use it or not because it isn't exquisitely well done, because it is, as you'll see, but because, oh look, there's an eyeball at the bottom. Wonderful. But because, as as Madame Clara puts in the very beginning, and you know, of course, well, I should say, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take a step back. So this is based upon the system of reading the skull, you know, shoot, and I can't remember the name of it. If I hadn't been asked or thinking about it, I'd be able to call it to mind, but where you read the cranium of someone to determine their characteristics. And unfortunately, like many things, it was abused and or used to keep African Americans or people of, you know, basically eugenics and racism, bottom line. And the author creator addresses that in here right from the get-go. So there's an introduction, phrenology, there we go. So you know where you see those in the stores, like a human head that's got all the different areas mapped out, that's what we're talking about. It began in the 1700s, it's a defunct pseudoscience. Yeah, it's the shape of the skull. Know thyself in the elephant. So he explains, because Madame Claire's really a man, all of those things in here. And then addresses it really head on, phrenology and controversy. It's important to acknowledge one truly negative aspect of phrenology that was missed in its brief history, aside from ultimately being classified as quackery. The pseudoscience has also been criticized for promoting racial and other prejudices, aligning certain physical qualities with less desirable mental faculties, and associating other physical qualities with success, intelligence, and happiness. For obvious reasons, this aspect has no place in the world today. However, defining a full spectrum of propensities has tremendous value in our own self-awareness, development, and growth. So to be clear, this deck only uses phrenology for its comprehensive list of faculties as a system of words and not a tool aligned to any measurement or physical qualities. Furthermore, she goes further. Furthermore, this deck will follow suit from its companion deck, the 5-cent tarot, never depicting humans and only representing animals, insects, and florals. As such, we can relate to the messages more readily without the unnecessary distractions of race or gender. Yeah. That is what caught me initially. And so I've struggled to work with this deck in full transparency, because personally, I'm just wrestling with that whole idea. The idea of bypassing race and gender by using just animals and so forth. You know, I think it can be okay to do that. I think there's a place for that. But I think as a means of avoiding those topics, that's not helpful, right? We need to be able to talk about them. The not talking about them has led to a lot of problems. I feel like in America, especially right now, I'm terrified. I'm absolutely terrified. I'm afraid of what we're doing in this country for so many reasons. It's just really gone down the toilet, and it's really terrifying and in a not great way. And so when this came in the mail, and it was before the Supreme Court stuff, it was, you know, before everything, you know, the race violence in this country has continued and gotten worse since 2020. In case, you know, you're not aware, but it is a terrifying problem. It really is. And anyway, it led me to kind of hit the pause button on both of these decks, even though I really loved the 5-cent tarot. I just thought, oh no, really? Because, I mean, what are you doing there, bud? And yet, by the same token, I just thought the skull dessert, it's a little mint, my little mint drink, my rainbow skull. I felt like at the same point, you know, we also kind of need to acknowledge, you know, it's, if you really look, most things in America have been used against, have been used against people of different abilities, races, genders, beliefs at some point. Almost everything in this country at least. And it's kind of horrifying if you dig back deeply enough and far enough, and you look closely enough. Even some things that you'd never associate, like the songs being played on the ice cream truck. You know, just little things. They have those links. That said, when we're just looking at a deck like this from the perspective of, you know, just the use of language and how it's a beautiful deck, you know, and it's a cabinet. It is a cabinet of curiosities type of deck. It's kind of definitely, you know, a two-penny oracle comes from that era, you know, where we have things like sideshows and so forth, which of course, like all things, have their dark and light aspects, but secretiveness. Yeah, so it's remained in my own cabinet of curiosities while I sort of thought through and have been contemplating, what does it mean? And from that perspective, I mean, a lot of these things just become curiosities and curious on their own simply because they raise curiosity about so many different topics, right? And ideas and issues. Adhesiveness. That said, all of that aside for just a moment, you know, form, right? We have memory. The imagery is so well done. Presumptuousness, repression, you know, the things that come to mind when you're looking at these cards are just marvelous. I do also amiativeness. I also do love language, right? Language is something that is, I love it. I love it. I love all language. I love the use of language. I love understanding language, translating language, everything about it. So anyway, this has stayed with me because it raises so much curiosity. It is beautiful. It's sort of the ultimate cabinet of curiosities type of deck. There's a bunch of, I mean, it has a lot of cards. I can't remember exactly how many, but there are like different, you know, different suits in here. The numbers and letters mean different things, and I don't remember what they are. I did study it for a little while I originally was unboxing and contemplating it. Yeah. I mean, you can't deny how beautiful it is and how beautifully done. It's a linen cardstock. It's a little bit, I do love his elephants. And it does, you know, the cards are small and very handleable. It's thin. The cardstock's thinnish, but that kind of durable, really durable cardstock. You know, it shuffles like a dream overhand. It could be shuffled in any way, and the edging is it's just exquisite. I mean, you can't, the quality is really there. I deeply appreciate the author creator's willingness to be honest and open and forthright in addressing the history of phrenology in here. And while I continue to contemplate how I feel about that and whether it's something I even want to bring into my practice, it has remained in the cabinet of curiosities, though talking this through, and thank you if you're still here because you've helped me really kind of unpack that a little bit more and a little bit more transparently. You know, where, again, as I think about it, where don't we find things that have been used against Black people in this country, especially? It's so woven in, but awareness does great things. So anyway, moving on. So let's see. I think we can do aliens now, and then we'll finish elsewhere. So here are two decks together. I know, and this is where I'm starting to cheat a little bit because I think I end up with way more than I'm supposed to have. Let's see, how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't even know. I have more, I think I've got more decks than I'm supposed to have here, guys, but oh well. So here are 2 alien decks. And I adore both of them for completely different reasons. And I don't use them much, but I just can't see letting them go. They have their own value for varying reasons. This is the Mystic Martian Oracle, and it is just a delight. It's published by Rockpool. I really just thought it was funny. I expected it initially when I got it. I expected it to be very, you know, tongue-in-cheek. It's really not. She's serious. The guidebook is fantastic. I have worked with this a fair bit. I did deck interviews. I've done a couple of readings with it, and it's really good. I really, really like it. It's got all these, I mean, look at the edging is wonderful. It's kind of this marvelous alien green. It's so colorful and pretty, and it's got all of these different concepts and ideas, as well as then, you know, the starseed, the mantis beings. Yeah. I can't even remember if I know I created the videos. I don't remember if I ever even uploaded them about this deck. I just don't remember. And sometimes I'll create videos and then I get too tired, or I forget, or then I lose space on my disc and I have to get rid of some stuff. And so, yeah, some of my content just ends up not being put out from time to time. But it is such a cool deck. It's very bizarre and wonderful and kind of creepy. So if you're creeped out by aliens, it's not, maybe it's not for you. I don't know. I ended up, you know, when you kind of like read your like alien history background, and I think I did put this out because I remember talking about this eye. People, it's just such a horrible looking eye, third eye. But anyway, I remember having people make comments about that with me. My starseed stuff was not what I thought it would be. It was really cool. You know, got all the elements. Anyway, this is a really neat deck. It gives really, really good readings. They feel incredibly spot on. But it's, you know, again, it's in that area of like, you know, reminds me of like the golden age of alien comic books and stuff like that. And it feels like it belongs in a Ripley's Believe It or Not kind of scenario. So for me, that's a Cabinet of Curiosities deck. And then along with it, I thought, well, why not? Because this one's been in my Cabinet of Curiosities. This is the, Welcome to the Starseed Path. It's number 32 of 100. This is made by Alvia, the Inspiring Alien Tarot deck. And as you can see, they hand drew all over the inside of the box and so forth, and hand decorated it. But it's Alvia's Inspiring Alien Tarot, which I love, actually. I do love it. It's expensive, it's pricey, and you know, it's very kind of predictable cardstock. I think they just feel that their vision is worthy of charging for, and so they do. But I feel like too, there's like there's some issues with the deck still. I think it could be, you know, remastered and digitized and so forth. But it's a very cool deck, and I love the kind of naive feel that there is with this deck, and it's hand drawn. I love that card. That's one of my favorite cards, the High Priestess. It has a sense of humor. It's clever. And it's kind of funny at moments. Like, it's just funny. I feel obvious sense of humor in here. The Purple Buddha card has always made me smile. Yeah. It's just a fun alien deck. And I like it a lot. I just don't read with it very often. It kind of feels like it just needs to, It does make me smile. It really does. It does really make me smile. But it is, I don't know, it just feels like it belongs in a cabinet of curiosities. You know, Avi is such a unique individual with such an unusual vision of the world. And I love that so much about them. Yeah. There we go. So that one also is, for me, a Cabinet of Curiosities tarot deck, or deck of any variety. So there we go. Inspiring Alien Tarot and the Mystic Martian Oracle. And finally, I think this is my last ones, and my God, this is a year long. These just have that feeling to me. These are the Santos and Signs Oracles by Melissa Lucia, who I absolutely adore. And she definitely has her own, they always come with a little medal and little, you know, little beautiful, come Holy Spirit, it says. Oh, I love them. They sort of mix the profane and the sacred in one place, you know, because we encountered that in real life. And they come with these wonderful little word cards. Again, they're very expensive. And I mean, they can be a little bit prohibitively expensive. I really love them. I've edged all 3 decks in different colors so that they are discernible from one another. This was the first one. This is the second. Oh, I guess I didn't edge this one yet. So this one's as yet unedged. Maybe because I'm very attached, actually. And this has some sacred soil from a church, I believe. And so I keep it with that deck. And I did not edge these in black because, again, these are edged. So if I wanted to mix them and then separate them out, I could. They have the same backs. And I think at some point that was my intention, was just to, you know, edge them and and mix the decks. And then this one is the Virgins and Madonnas deck. And it does not contain any, it does have a beautiful little pendant. And it does not contain any, what am I trying to say, word cards. So this one's just the, you know, it's just this. But this way, if I wanted to combine all 3 decks, I know who belongs with whom pretty quickly and in a very straightforward manner. Because the backings, I think, are all the same. But they feel to me, oh, the images are so well done. She's a wonderful photographer. And she clearly enjoys working, I think, too, like as you could see with this one, like with digital collage. It just has that again, that wonderful feel of mystical reality that comes through in, God, that's beautiful. Latin American countries. That really made me want to learn Spanish, and ultimately like set me off on a path at one point in my life of, it's like she's winking, right? Of wanting to go there. And every time I pick these decks up, it brings me back to that space of wanting to go back and wanting to learn and feel and experience. You know, these decks carry, as much as anything, not so much her interpretation of this culture as just her experience of it, you know, of being an outsider within that culture, and yet feeling so deeply part of it and so deeply connected to it. I know there's been criticism, I think, from a few people about her work and about her, you know, like there's a cultural appropriation. I can't speak directly to that as someone who's also an outsider to that culture. I can simply say my understanding of Melissa, who I honestly, I adore, completely adore her, is really one of, she has such tremendous reverence and love and adoration for it, and that this is what informs her work. Yeah. And I love the images in these cards so much. Oh my gosh. And I'll look at them and I'll think, oh, I don't really want to work with that right now. I'm really kind of more devoted to my own path. And then, you know, like today I'm picking them up and looking at them and remembering how much I loved and have loved working with these. And how much they've influenced me and just opened my eyes to just taking, you know, when we're taking walks every day. And this is a practice I've always had. So it was fun to meet Melissa and learn about her path, you know, of just finding the sacred in everyday life, in everyday walks, because I feel very similarly about that. And I have actually started a deck and even had it printed for myself of my own pilgrimages and walks. And I've been debating, like, do I share it? Do I put it out there? Do I keep it to myself? I don't know. Eventually I'll make that choice. But yeah, these are their signs, and they're literal signs, like things that she's seen. Oh, whoops, there we go. That was a Santos and Signs title card. The things she's literally seen and encountered on her path. And each holds something of the sacred, and, you know, it holds meaning. Yeah. And they're unbelievably straightforward to read with. I mean, you can't believe how easy, like when you pick them up and lay them out, how straightforward the reading becomes, you know. And then when you combine it with word cards, it's right there. It's right there. So anyway, so those are they, and I think that's it. I think that's everything. I think that's all of my decks. So with that, I think I'll pause it here, because I know this has gone on forever. And a special super duper thank you to Candy, from Candy Soul and Soil, for creating this, because it's been fun to share, like, my whole cabinet of curiosities. And believe me, there were more I thought, oh, I should put that one in. And I thought, no, you've got to find a stopping point now. But anyway, so there we go. All right, friends, I adore you. I appreciate you. And thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.